Hey, everybody. So today we have a very special guest. We have my good buddy, Nipun. Now, Nipun is the CEO and founder of a phenomenal company that was, from my understanding, recently bought called Curofy. And if you have not heard about Nipun or Curofy, I highly suggest you go check them out. Nipun is a Forbes 30 under 30 winner. And besides that, he's just a phenomenal dude, just a great, great dude. And I'm very excited for him to be joining us and to share his story. So Nipun, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Ibrahim. It's really nice to be here. I like what you're doing here. And I'm really excited to talk to younger bunch of probably entrepreneurs or people who want to become entrepreneurs.
That's great. So thank you. So Nipun, let's take a step back. Before you started your startup, before you have all these accomplishments under your belt, let's take a step back from all the way to the beginning. When you're the little Nipun, that's what we want to get to know. So where are you from and what was your upbringing like?
Sure. I was born and raised in a small town in Rajasthan called Hanumangarh. So, this name Hanumangarh has actually, it's comprised of a god's name called Hanuman. So, it was a religious city, small town, religious town, small town, a lot of simple people, including my family. My family was a middle class Marwari family, which, through the historical, developments, we've been merchants, the Marwadis have been merchants. And my grandfather was also one, he was a small grain merchant who had migrated from his native town to, the place where I was born in 1980s. Even my school education was pretty, I would say, it was good, but the exposure was a little less. So, if I meet a friend today from school who is somehow not connected with me at all, and I tell him that I run a venture like this, most likely he won't believe me. Even my past self will also be skeptic of this.
What, were you such a bad student?
Yeah, I mean, the guy who is just clearing 12th or maybe who is in 12th, he will not believe that the guy today doing interview will be doing this interview.
Wow, that's great. So let me ask you like this.
And a big reason was, look, I was an average student in school. I didn't get great marks. And a bigger reason was, there was a lack of exposure in school, in my city. I had never used internet. So, yeah. So in the final year of school, I actually came to know of IIT JEE and why it was the ultimate exam for an aspiring non-medical student. To just give you an idea, about 1% of students clear this exam. So it's really tough, really aspirational. So I was also very ambitious. I started aiming towards clearing it, but I had no idea how to do it, how to prepare for it. There was not enough coaching support in my town. And as I said, computer and internet were alien for me at that time. But luckily, one day in my morning assembly, someone from a coaching institute came and talked about their test series. I thought I should join it, but the only condition was that, somehow, I had to get 10 students to register for that test series because that was a condition for setting up a new center. And, somehow I was able to do that. That, I believe, was my first step towards doing something tangible for my career. And that step paid off. I was able to clear IIT JEE, not in the first attempt, but, in the first attempt, I got a good rank. And that rank motivated me, to attempt again. So I went to Kota, which is sort of the coaching hub, got more exposure, studied with more discipline, and cleared IIT JEE with a great rank, I believe, to get into IIT Delhi in one of the best departments. So, those were my pre-IIT Delhi days, but IIT Delhi was awesome. I got a lot of exposure. Although the early days were again challenging, while I was trying to absorb to the new culture of living in a large city, being surrounded by the top most intelligent people, I failed in two subjects in my first year and got a pretty average GPA of 6 point something. So, I didn't take my academics very seriously until the placement season and the intern season. During the recruitment process as well, I got rejected by more than 20 companies, who rejected me in the final round of interview in the first week of placements. So I was shattered. I stopped applying for companies that came for placements after that. But I had a strong belief in myself, and I decided to do something about it. I started taking courses which I liked, the courses in finance, business, and doing what you love brings the best out of you. So, slowly I started getting good grades. I started seeing A's for the first time in my life. And by the end of the college, I got my confidence back, got a decent GPA as well. And I started exploring off-campus jobs. And it was just a matter of time that I got I believe a great job at investment banking division of Rothschild. It was, I believe, one of the best jobs in my, in my college.
Wow.
That was my pre-entrepreneurship days, so yeah, a lot of good learnings.
A tremendous amount of lessons. And I want to understand a few questions. You said that you grew up without internet. So was that because of the city and the family you were from, or that's because all of India back then, people didn't grow up with internet?
Yeah, so I'll say it's a mix of both. Look, internet was there, but my family was not rich. So, I would say very few families used to have internet and computer at that time. Mm-hmm. Plus, my family background was also such that, even they didn't have a lot of exposure. So, getting internet was something that early adopters would do at that time.
Right. So you had no idea about the rest of the world.
Yeah, precisely.
Right. But to a certain degree, there are, I think, certain benefits to the fact that not necessarily you're sheltered, but, you didn't, back then, there was no iPads, there's no iPhones. You're able to go outside and play with your friends. You went outside to play soccer. You didn't just get stuck into Netflix the whole day.
I think yes, to some extent, yes, but it's good to have internet.
Yeah, that for sure. We still need internet. Don't take it away. So, to take us to, first of all, what you said with your story is just phenomenal. The way you bounced back constantly and the struggles and hurdles you went through is just an inspirational aspect. Even before, we get into more details about Curofy. Just that, knowing you're in one of the top colleges in India, and you're surrounded by brilliant, smart people. And, you had you got rejected from 20 jobs. Your GPA was not good. And to put back into the hustle and to not give up. And you had the relentless pursuit of not necessarily perfection, but to get to success is just absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
So my question is like this. So obviously you got into investment banking afterwards and you went to the corporate route. How did you get into entrepreneurship?
Sure. So look, as I said, coming from a Marwari family, I was always intrigued by the way businesses function. And I had extreme involvement in managerial activities. So when I was not studying in my early year of IIT Delhi, I was actually involved in a lot of managerial activities, including leading a team of 200 members in a college startup. So I started, developing a strong motivation to start something of my own. But my career in investment banking was too lucrative to let go of easily. Luckily, just before I joined Rothschild, I had started a medical tourism company along with two of my friends as a side project, with my job, because we thought it'll be cool. We thought we could create a lot of impact in healthcare industry, and medical tourism seemed like a low investment, decent return business. This I believe was the first real step towards entrepreneurship.
Okay, so now we got that. So we definitely understand it. So you're saying essentially you have it to a certain degree in your DNA. You have it in your DNA. Yeah, that's incredible. So
just to give you the DNA bit, there is a joke that is very common. So a lot of these, you've heard of Flipkart, I'm sure. So a lot of these big companies have a very common surname called Bansal.
Yeah.
And then there is Goyal. So these all are, Marwari people. So, I am very proud of being a Marwari. So, yeah. So,
How can I become
probably it's
a
true
Marwari?
that we have that in our genes.
So I see the common names in India as Bansin, Jan, Agwal.
Exactly. So most of us are Marwadis.
How can I join the tribe?
I think you'll have to get a birth again in this tribe. Maybe you'll have to figure out a way for reincarnation.
All right, let's do it. So where did the idea of your Curofy come? Because Curofy is a very interesting story. Curofy is not trying to solve the doctor-patient relationship that most companies try to do. Curofy is solving the connection between doctors to communicate. So before we get more details into that aspect, where did the idea for Curofy come from?
Sure. So, look, as I said, we were doing that medical tourism business and it remained as a side project for almost 2 years. We saw a lot of pivots, but we never left pursuing. I think that was, a big reason why Curofy exists today. We never left pursuing. I had already taken a small step. The only thing that was remaining was, big thinking. So during, the 2 years that we did that as a side project, we actually met more than 1,000 doctors, and slowly we started seeing bigger problems in healthcare industry. Digital healthcare communication was completely broken, mainly because of one simple reason, that doctors were not online. And there were a lot of platforms which were catering to patients, helping patients, but no one was building tools for doctors, and that's why I decided to quit my job, stopped the medical tourism business, and started with Curofy. That was roughly 4 years back, and today we have about 300,000 doctors.
Wow.
So it's roughly a third of Indian doctors on this platform discussing their difficult patient cases with each other.
Wow. Wow, the amount of data you have, that's phenomenal. So what was that final push that made you finally quit your job and to start and go full force into Curofy?
I think it was just the fact that we saw this problem and we got obsessed with this problem that, look, doctors have to be brought online. There is no one else doing this, and we had already spent 2 years, and this sort of was a push that, look, someday we have to take this step, and this is the best time to do it. So we saw a great opportunity in a great problem.
Mm-hmm. So now we know how you launched it and you started it. What were some of the early challenges that you faced when you were building Curofy in the beginning days?
Sure. So look, for us, the fact that doctors are busy was a big challenge. It took us almost 1 year to get 1,000+ doctors on Curofy. We had to travel a lot every day, and we were treated like medical representatives who are not treated well in India, by the way. So we had to wait for hours just to get 5 minutes of doctors. That was really tough. Spending hours just to get 5 minutes of doctors to pitch them to come on Curofy. But slowly, network effects started showing, and doctors started joining the app in large numbers by themselves. And just to give you an idea, that early challenge has become a boon for us today, because today our business model actually thrives on this very busy nature of doctors, and pharma companies and other healthcare companies actually pay us a decent amount of money to reach out to doctors through Curofy. Wow. So that was one big challenge, I believe. And then there were other challenges like, how to keep the network spam free, how to make doctors find there is enough value for whatever time they're spending on Curofy. So we had to do a lot of, targeting by specialty to give them relevant content. We also made sure that only verified doctors join this network so that there is a trust in the community that, look, only doctors are seeing the content that they are sharing. So, it gave them a lot of comfort in that way.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. Do you have like one specific dark day, like your darkest day you ever had? That you thought, forget about it. It's all going down. It's over, and we're done. And I'm like, did you ever have one of those?
I think the darkest day that I remember was a time when we were not able to pay salary for the first salary that we had missed for our employees. So we had raised some funds, angel funds. We were in discussions with the few VCs to raise the next round, but there was a gap. It was taking a lot of time to sort of get confirmation from the VC that we will get the money. So there was this day that we had to miss paying salaries to our, there were about 15 employees at that time. So we missed that date and we actually didn't pay for another month. So those were really dark days, I would say. We didn't know whether we will survive, but luckily, we got great people who stuck around with us. One good reason was, the environment was really, with a lot of younger people, even younger than us at that time, mostly graduated out of college immediately. They didn't require a lot of money, and that's why they stuck with us for those, months where we could not pay their salaries. But eventually, we got that money. We got the confirmation and slowly the money from the VC, and it turned out well. So people, a lot of those people are still with us. That loyalty factor actually increased in those tough days.
Right, that's totally true. It's when you go through those hard times which builds a team unit that eventually.
Exactly.
So what was the message, or what were you telling yourself back then that gave you hope and optimism to continue through with your journey?
Look, I have been super inspired by a lot of entrepreneurs, these big people. I love to read about them. So, there are few books that I, used to read and then sort of remember. So one is from Steve Jobs that, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something. So that was one quote that inspired me. The other one, which is my favorite even today, is from Jack Ma, who says, "Today is hard, tomorrow is worse, but day after tomorrow is going to be sunshine."
You're almost like Jack Ma. Jack Ma also got rejected from like X amount of jobs. He got rejected even from McDonald's and even from his police office.
Yeah. So there is a story that it was actually KFC. So when KFC was coming in the city that Jack was living, 25 people had applied for the job. In 24 people were selected. Only one rejected was Jack.
It just goes to show you the amount of relentless pursuit that he had in wanting to accomplish his goals. That
exactly.
Rejection from KFC or McDonald's doesn't determine who he is. Does not make him as a person.
Yeah.
So what was that pivotal moment that you knew that Curofy, that we're in it, that we're here to exist, and we're here to stay to build a big company, and that we're not going to have any of those dark days of missing payroll anymore, but we're here to actually build this great, phenomenal organization?
I think, one simple moment was obviously when the funds came, because now we knew, we got some VC money, we are going to stay. But in terms of, product evolution, I believe, when during the early days, we actually launched Curofy as a directory of doctors in order to help them discover, each other for referring patients. So that is what we started with. Slowly, we pivoted to, this being a news consumption platform primarily. The directory feature was still there, but the main feature turned out to be, that news consumption based on targeted specialty. And it helped us to retain some of the doctors, but we were not seeing a lot of engagement. Then slowly, after getting about 500 to 1,000 doctors, we launched, peer-to-peer discussion, just a blanket, content post, so people could write anything. So we started seeing a pattern that most of the discussions initiated by doctors were actually cases. So, there were other discussions as well, like, the problems that they are facing in their practice, like medical legal issues. There is a common violence against doctors in India as well. Sometimes they feel really bad about it, so they used to discuss that. Medical technology advancements, educational stuff was also there. But the key learning was that suddenly a lot of doctors were discussing cases on the platform. And then, we started meeting these doctors again. And one of the key, I would say, eureka moment at that time was we saw the phone of doctors, and a lot of these doctors were discussing cases on WhatsApp. So, they had these WhatsApp groups where they used to discuss these cases with each other. And that is when, we realized that this is going to be a great use case. And we built, we doubled down on that use case, and slowly, that became our primary thing. And today, I would say 90% of our focus is still on, helping doctors discuss cases with each other.
Wow. So, yeah. Now, how big is your team now?
So we are 35 people.
Beautiful. So let's take, what message you tell, I know you go around to speak a lot. You actually spoke yesterday. What message you tell other entrepreneurs that are looking to start a company, or people that are going through a hard time, or people just within their company? What message you tell them? What should they look out for? What should they know? What should someone just looking to start? What do you go ahead and what's the message that you give them?
I think, one key learning for me is, one shouldn't be afraid of failures, and that would be my message. So, don't be afraid of failures, aim big and give it your best shot. If you fail, and work even harder, keep doing that, and one day you will definitely succeed. So, that would be my primary message. And, one of the other learning for me has been, you should always remember that you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. Yeah. So always think of next steps without getting much affected by the situation, and life will turn out to be good.
I love your positive attitude. It's amazing. I mean, it's the only way to go about life.
Yeah.
So who are some of the people that have made a difference in your life? So we know Jack Ma, Steve Jobs. But who are some of the people that influence your way of thinking?
I think I started getting motivated by people who I sort of like, and who I like to relate to a lot. So even in my childhood, I used to watch a lot of cricket, and I loved Rahul Dravid. Even though Sachin Tendulkar was a bigger star, but I loved Rahul Dravid because he was someone who did not care a lot about stardom. He was someone who would persevere with a lot of discipline. And I believe that I inculcated a lot of good habits from him. Later on, I got exposed to these entrepreneurs when I started entrepreneurship. So I read biographies of these entrepreneurs, and I think my pick would be Jack Ma, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, obviously. Jeff Bezos is again a huge motivation. I love him, how he thinks big. Elon Musk also for the same reason. Being able to think big, being able to believe that humanity can be saved if there is a natural calamity, and trying to establish a parallel life on Mars. So those people have always inspired me to think big.
Even when we go to Mars, we're still going to need Curofy. The doctors are going to have to communicate.
True. Yeah.
So I want to, I'm going to go take a step back to what you mentioned before. The fear of failure. One of the biggest reasons why people don't start a company is because of that fear of failure.
Exactly.
So it's the fear of what other people will think. People will think of them as a failure, or how can I overcome a failure? So many things, but that fear is what holds us back. And the worst thing about not starting a company is not starting. But how can what have you found useful in your journey to overcome that fear of failure?
I think, a lot of times a lot of these entrepreneurs want to start something, and, maybe it's fear of failure, maybe it's not having a plan. People get bothered a lot about this. So I think one thing which I recently read was this book by Mark Manson called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Yeah.
And I love one principle which is called do something principle out of it. So do something principle says that, look, typically, how the action cycle works is, we get inspired, then we get motivated, and then we do desirable action. But the problem, as we discussed, was a lot of times we have this fear of failures, we have this fear of reality that, whether will it be possible that I will be able to get 300,000 doctors on a single platform? Yes, if I had thought about it, I would not have started this. So, the problem with this mindset is we wait for inspiration to start an action. But what Marx says, in the do something principle is that, look, action is not just a result of motivation, it's also a cause of it. So if you start doing something, if you start taking these small steps, you actually harness, the motivation that you get out of these actions. So, when I started my quest for, IIT JEE, I actually joined that test series. It didn't really, gave me a lot of results in the first year. But just the fact that I started it, I got committed and I started working towards it. So I've seen a lot of such examples, when you just start something, just commit yourself, take a small step, commit yourself. I think committing yourself is the best thing that you can do. So even when I was with Rothschild, doing that side project of medical tourism, committing myself to entrepreneurship is actually the reason that I am today doing Curofy. So committing yourself, I believe, is a great way to start. Commit small, just build upon it.
Wow, that's so inspirational, inspiring. It's amazing. And it goes back to saying that what success breeds success, and all it is one step at a time. It's not about, we get stuck in this whole big picture that we want to build a company, want to raise X amount of money, X amount of employees, but it's not about that. Think about today. Think about the next action you have to take. And then action brings more action, and success brings more success. It's all about that. That's phenomenal. So you mentioned the book, The Subtle Art. What are some other books that you recommend other people to read that have influenced your way of thinking?
Look, for entrepreneurs, there are typical holy Bibles. You should definitely read Lean Startups by Eric Ries. Chasing the Chasm is a great book for entrepreneurs who are in the early sales cycle. But I personally love reading biographies of entrepreneurs. They inspire me like anything. I've read Sam Walton, Richard Branson, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Jack Ma in this year itself. Including some rereads. I'm currently reading this book called 21 Lessons for 21st Century. I've read Sapiens, which is, to be honest, one of my picks from the book that I've read recently. I love this book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. So, I just keep reading these days. I love, reading philosophy, entrepreneurs. So, yeah.
Wow. Those are a phenomenal, incredible list of books. And
then, my best thing when I have nothing to do is to watch these TED Talks. That is my go-to platform when I want to get inspired. So, yeah.
When are we going to see your TED Talk?
I hope they call me soon.
We'll arrange it somehow. We got to figure it out. So,
sure. Let me know.
So what message would you tell a younger Nipun? A Nipun coming right out of college, what would you tell him?
I just say life will turn out to be good.
That's it. Don't worry.
Yeah, life is actually good. If you stop worrying about future a lot, just focus on what you have to do in present. I think it's amazing how you can be happy even in difficult situations.
Right. So, yeah. Wow. Nipun, I definitely hope that a lot of people in India, either youngsters in college and high school, or even your friends, are tapping into you for knowledge, for energy, for your positivity and hope they have, and to view life that it's the most amazing thing, incredible. I hope they are.
Thank you. And I also hope people come. A lot of entrepreneurs come out of the country. I still am looking forward to a great product coming out of India at a global level, and I really believe that is not far. Within next 5 years, you'll see at least one or two global products coming out from India. Like the Chinese ventures that have come up in last 5-10 years. It's just that it's just a matter of time. So yeah.
Like I said, you know what? It's very interesting that you say that, because what America has accomplished in the past, let's say, in the startup ecosystem within the past 60 years, India has been able to accomplish that in such a shorter time span, within 10 to 15 years. So the whole Indian startup ecosystem currently is, let's say, is 10 years old. But within 5 years, in 5 to 6 years, they'll be where America is holding now, just in a shorter time span. And the innovation that's coming out is so much more advanced to a certain degree. And the next big, and they will definitely be the second biggest. Definitely the next big Flipkart or Facebook or Google will be coming out of India.
Definitely, 100%.
So Nipun, this has been absolutely amazing. I have learned a tremendous amount. I have received so much energy over here through this connection, and I'm sure people are also going to learn a tremendous amount. And I hope more people tap into your energy and into your knowledge, and to get encouragement from you to start a startup and to overcome those bad days and have that positive attitude and knowing that life is going to be freaking awesome. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Love being here. Thank you.
Thank you. And like it goes without saying, if anything I could do for you or for Curofy, please don't hesitate to reach out. Always here for you guys.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.